Hello, give me a break here. I promise you there is more to the Cyclopean order game than guessing the order in which the polygonal walls were built. For its own sake, playing the game makes up for a great pastime, as it looks deceptively simple at start, and then, beyond dropping the numbers onto rocks, the game reveals a bit of the Cyclopean builder's vision. Let me show you how the game goes with an example that people that are halfway the age between being young and Cyclopean might get. Now that you have the basic idea, let's cover the ABCs of playing, the rule of the game. Rule number 1. Walls are built from the bottom up. Surprisingly, I know. Thus, you'll have to start with placing a number 1 at the bottom row. Which one? For that, there's the second rule, the ABCs, i.e. the order is alphabetic. A stone that looks more like a letter A will have to go in before one that is shaped like the letter V. Let's see in this example. If we have two A-shaped stones and an open space in the middle, we can put a V-shaped rock in the middle. But on the contrary, if we have two V's and then one shaped A, they cannot get in, and you lost. There are no more rules. As simple as it seems, the game can get very complex when the rock shapes are less like simple A's or V's and become all crazy C's and D cups. Or when they were eroded by time, in a way we no longer see the letters. That's probably why the Cyclops play this game in a slightly different way. They would shape each new stone precisely as needed, and do that only after the previous rock was already set into place, thus avoiding being defeated by a misspelled rock. Some people, clueless or academics, claim the builders would go around looking for stones that could best fit in the open spot, with minimum carving, but that's nonsense, as seen whenever these walls had collapsed and were then reconstructed. On those rebuilding efforts, it's all but impossible to reassemble the puzzle. New and ancient restorers alike would rather pile up rubble around the Cyclopean wall than to properly redo the jigsaw. Like with every good game, time flies. The extent of work needed to play the game the way the monocular builders would do it, shaping each stone one at a time, is easy to underestimate. These fancy walls aren't mass-produced, they are outrageously time-consuming, in a way that defies even the official timelines for their construction. In a mass assembly line, the tasks can be divided and multiple teams can work at the same time, one cutting, another transporting, etc. This multiplies the speed in which the work can be done. The idea is very ancient. Millennia before Ford infamously applied the assembly line into car production, making them cheaper and faster in factories packed with proletariat. Whilst the reason why Cyclops wouldn't fit into an assembly line, it's not because they were rebel bourgeoisie, opposing mass exploitation, although the philosopher Aristotle did argue just that. But that's a topic for the next video. The thing with Cyclopean production is that to be able to fit any work into an assembly line, every task needs to run at approximately the same speed, so that the work can move forward without idleness piling up. In the case of Cyclopean walls, these constructions are pre-iron, meaning one particular task, shaping or in this case polishing, was too slow. Thus, it makes no sense to advance all the other tasks of transport and assembly, etc., so that they would end up stuck waiting for the polishing anyway. And that's all assuming we have any idea on how the walls are made. As for that, we basically have only one source, again from Aristotle of all people, implying the builders used a lesbian rule, a non-straight rule, or what is now called a flexible rule, made out of lead. It does make some sense, as lead, especially the one found in the island of Lesbos, is soft and moldable. Give it a form and it will keep it. The shape rule can then be matched onto the next rock to see if they are compatible, or where the stones need further polishing. However, there is a difficulty. Cyclopean masonry is three-dimensional, with odd-shaped volumes, and the rule, lesbian or not, is linear. For this technique to make sense, the builders would have to use not a rule but a lead sheet that they would hammer into shape, enveloping the existing rock, and then use the cask as the mold to shape on the next stone. Like in a rock, paper, scissors game, but in reverse. Another game? Let's think about that for a second. It's complicated. Since the mold would have to be used on the outside, it has to be very slim, just millimeters thick, to be able to achieve the perfect fitting as we can see in places like Elion, which is hard to do without deformation of the lead plates. Maybe the lesbian rule is just another game, not literal. In summary, building Cyclopean walls is ancient lost technology. No one has a clue on how they were built. It's all fine if you are playing the Cyclopean order game, but that's it, just playing. In reality, we have no way of knowing how these walls were made, and we know the people overstating the easiness of building them tend to be gaming academics, without practical minds. All that takes us back to Aristotle, with the writings of this prolific Greek thinker being our main source, not only for how the rock measuring was done with that lead rule, but also on why the walls are called both lesbian and Cyclopean, and even as an origin for the Freemasons. All that we'll have to check on the next video. Until then, please give this one a like. See you around!